Last week, OpenAI had its first ever dev day, and while it was amazing for developers like us to see some of the things coming down the pipeline, there were a lot of things that even non-developers should be excited about that I want to share with you today. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So what exactly is a developer day? Well, developer day is like a big special event where companies like Apple or Facebook, Microsoft, and now OpenAI might invite other developers and tech people to come and see what it is that they've been working on. And very often they release brand new products and features that developers and non-developers alike might find exciting. Think, for instance, of the iconic moment when Steve Jobs released the iPhone in 2007, or when Facebook released the Oculus much more recently than that. Well, this was OpenAI's first foray into developer days, where they released a bunch of new features, and man, it did not disappoint. So let's talk about some of the things that we're most excited about that came out of that developer day. So the first thing we're really excited about is that they've increased the token limits from roughly 4,000 to roughly 128,000. Now, you can think of a token as a word or a part of a word, which is really what it uses, or what ChatGPT uses under the hood, in order to process searches. It's using tokens to figure out, when I put this particular query in, what is the best possible response it could generate for you based on that query that you just put in there when you enter into this chatbot here. Now, what does this mean? Well, with only 4,000 tokens, you're really limited to the amount of contextual understanding that you're able to get from ChatGPT, because it can only be trained to a certain amount. Now, by increasing this from 4,000 to 128,000, you can start to get much more comprehensive responses, handle much more complex queries, and really start getting a lot better context around your data. So let's go through an example. So for example, let's imagine here that I have a bunch of emails that I think are best practice from different people. These have been in my swipe file, and this is roughly 115 pages worth of emails. Now, this is going to blow past the 4,000 token limit. In fact, this is roughly 19,000 words, which is considerably more than 4,000. Okay, so now with the brand new GPT, what I can do is I can go ahead and say, here we go, let me go and upload a text file of those emails. We're going to go find our AI training file and say, I want you to help me craft great emails. Whoops, great emails. I'm going to give you a bunch of examples in order to help you help me. Please acknowledge you understand. Okay. Now, the important thing here, honestly, is not that it's going to necessarily understand. What's important is that I just gave it 115 pages worth of emails that it's able to now use as I get ready to start trying to craft my own emails with this now in memory. Now, why does this matter? Well, let's say you have other kinds of documents that you might want to be able to query. They could be product spec sheets. They could be large spreadsheets that are significant, or massive SQL queries that you've exported from a database. Heck, it could be a swipe file like we've got with hundreds of documents of what's good that you want to make sure you're training the AI on even more. Well, now you can download these massive files, upload it into GPT up to 128,000 tokens, and start having a conversation with that information that's going to stay in memory and be used for contextual similarity search. But that's not all. Let's talk about the next thing that we're really excited about. So the next thing I'm really excited about is the fact that you can now build your own GPT. So what does that mean? So in the same way that I have that large text file, well, now I'm able to go in and upload that text file and start training a GPT to understand this in order to build my own specialized model. In this particular case, I've created a little GPT that I've called SWP ProMail, and the whole purpose of this is to take the emails that I just gave it, and now I'm going to build a GPT that is going to always remember that those emails are there, and that word will follow specific and special instructions that I give it going forward. So whereas in the previous example over here, I might be able to upload the document one time and now have it in this session, By being able to create my own GPT, I can actually now have it remember that and then come to it later on and just continue to have conversations with this specific GPT or this specific bot so that that information is staying in memory. Even better, I can upload multiple files, I can extend them with specific actions, maybe I'm going to call an API into my CRM, and any number of other things, and we'll get to all that a little bit later. This is really great because now I can go ahead and take this GPT that's now been trained on this example and is persistent, and I can now save this and potentially share this with my team or even make it public so that I could share it with customers, provided that they have GPT-4 installed right now. Now, of course, you can see that this may appear in the GPT store, which is coming soon. So these will actually be publicly available should you choose to make them available in the near future. But the really cool thing for right now is that these are available and you can start training your own GPT. What's even better is that you do not have to be a developer to do this. In fact, I showed my daughter, my 13-year-old daughter this, and she started making a bunch of random GPTs over the weekend. Things like how to, come up with macaron recipes. I don't know what she was doing over here. I guess she's looking for a job. I don't know what that's all about. Looking at a healthy meal planner. And each of these individual GPTs are very easy to create. You go through and it will start walking you through a wizard. What kind of GPT are you trying to make? It'll help you generate a logo and ask you for data. This is a really, really cool thing, and it's worth the upgrade to GPT-4 just to try this out and start using your own data that you can then use internally for things like quotes, product spec sheets, marketing materials, branding guides, whatever those things are, whatever you can create, as long as it can be uploaded in a CSV, PDF, or even a computationally challenging spreadsheet because it can write code, the sky's really the limit to whatever your imagination is. So while those two things alone, being able to upload large files that you can then work with in a single session, or create your own GPT that will have your own specific training in addition to your large files, while those two things are awesome in and of their own right, there's an even cooler thing that they built or that they released that developers and your developer team can really make use of in order to really take it to the next level. So let's talk about the next thing that they've released, which is called JSON results. Now, when we talk about JSON, this might sound like a really technical thing, but you can think of JSON as the language that computers speak when they're talking to each other. So if you've ever used a tool like Zapier or If This Then That, or even built an automation with your Siri or your Alexa, the way that these machines communicate is typically they grab data, they put it in a specific format, they send it somewhere else that thing can understand, and typically that format that they're using to speak is what's called JSON. It looks very easy to, so when you look at it, it looks something like this. And while you or I might never speak like this, this is something that a computer can understand, and understand very easily. Now, why does that matter? Well, because computers are able to understand this language, what that means is that now you can start using GPT in natural language ways, but get it translated using the JSON result to send it to other machines. So let me show you a quick example of something we've got worked up. So this is an example of a workflow that we have that allows me to upload a file, an audio file, to Google Drive. So one of the things that we're working on right now is product development. Now, inside of developing these products, we want to make sure that we've got some structured information that is productive for both our marketing team and our production and project team. And this information would include things like the product description, how we should approach this, what are included, what's excluded, why would customers want to buy this, and some other things like that. And this is inside of our knowledge base. So it takes us a lot of time to kind of brainstorm and come up with these things. So what I've done is I've built an automation here where I will record my perspective on a product that I think we should develop or a service that I think we should provide. I save it to a Google Drive folder, which then goes to OpenAI, and OpenAI takes that audio file and transcribes it, coming up with an entire list of whatever it was I said on that video. And as you can see here, it's just a bunch of text because I was just word vomiting. Okay. Well, the next thing that will happen is we send this over to OpenAI, and we say, hey, OpenAI, please take a look at this transcript and break this up into some meaningful chunks based on the categories I want for you to keep track of: product description, approach, inclusions, exclusions, etc. Those are specified in my prompt. Now, what happens next is that this automation will take that content and send it to our knowledge base, which is now in a human readable format. And this is awesome. But this is not something that would look really great in a spreadsheet. And when we're starting to put together quotes, well, we would prefer to be able to see the items in a spreadsheet so that we can know which items we can select from when we're building our quotes. So enter the get JSON response. So this look here, this does not look like something that we would particularly read. But for computers love this kind of language. It's very easy for them to process. And so here we take the data that was in that previous text that a human can read that we saw over here in our knowledge base, and then we ask it to transform it into JSON using the JSON result, creating a list of key value pairs like this that now a computer can understand. As a result, this is able to get sent to a Google Sheet where we're able to then append the rows and keep a list of all of our product information inside of a spreadsheet as well as inside of our knowledge base. And all I had to do was take 7 or 8 minutes to record all of the information that I wanted to record, and then GPT processed it, put it inside of our knowledge base. And this is not GPT, this is a different application. It's called N8N, which is where we're putting together the workflow. But the JSON result, which is the important thing, the JSON result allows us to take natural language information, in this case a transcript, and transform it using that response and a good prompt to transform it into a spreadsheet, or had we wanted to, we could insert it into a database or put it into a CRM. But the data itself is now interchangeable without us having to go back and now look at the data and then figure out how to do data entry. By JSON result, the data entry can now happen in a predictable, reliable way. And this is amazing because now what was taking us months to get done is now able to get done inside of days and weeks, not months. Now, these 3 things alone, to me, have already been game-changing just this week. But that's not even the tip of the iceberg. The other really cool thing that they released is what's called AI assistants, where now, kind of like you could build your own GPTs inside of the GPT interface, you can use the AI assistant API to really start building your own chatbots that are connected to your own databases, your own unstructured data, or whatever it is you can connect it to. Using any number of tools. And that, I think, is going to be sort of the next step. It's really, really interesting. Now, we haven't played with that quite yet because it's only been a week. And once we do, we'll absolutely make a video on it and link to it in the description. The other cool things that you can do now with this is the text-to-speech has gotten a lot better. DALL-E's image generation has gotten a lot better. And now you can also upload images, and it will understand images and process images when you upload them inside of the interface. Really, really, really cool features. But to me, the increased token limits, the ability to make your own GPT, and the JSON result, those 3 alone, in just the week since it's been released, have already been tremendously helpful for us and our small 10-person team. And so I want to share these because even though we haven't tried the other things quite yet, I think these 3 things alone, and certainly just the bigger text limits and making your own GPT, are automatically or are already worth trying. Now, there are a couple of downsides, and the downsides are, first of all, you do need to have GPT-4 in order for this to happen. You need to have the paid GPT. So everything I showed you is on the paid GPT. We pay for the service, but in my mind, these new features make it very well worth it. It's only $20 a month. The other thing is that rate limits are still in effect. So, for example, when I was trying to film this, or not film this, when I was working on my own GPTs, my daughter, on Saturday, I was working on our GPT, and my daughter was playing with ours. Well, she blew through our rate limits playing with this, and again, I'm glad she's doing that. I think it's important she learn it, but she blew through our rate limits, and I essentially got locked out of our account for like 2 hours. So that wasn't awesome, but you know, that happens. And so the rate limits are still in effect. Now, beyond that, I've also found it to be a little bit of a trying exercise, trying to train our own GPT. I'll do a separate video on that, but like all new technologies, it takes some patience, some grit, and just a learning curve. But having said that, despite those three things, you need to have the paid GPT, which is definitely worth it. It's only $20 a month. That the rate limiting can be an issue, and that it can occasionally be a little bit frustrating while you're trying to do the training. The benefits already are tremendously fascinating. Now, of course, all of this is just scratching the tip of the iceberg. It's really only been a week since all this stuff was released. We didn't even get access to some of it until like last Thursday. It's Tuesday today. So this has been kind of a whirlwind. And in just this short period of time, we're already seeing just these really, really cool results. And even my team is already starting to find new ways to play with this in both their own work and in the work we might do for clients going forward. So I'd be really excited to hear, like, what are you working on? If you've got a really cool project, please put it in the comments. I would love to read and just kind of learn, like, what are people using this for? Or maybe you're the kind of person who doesn't yet know, like, you see the possibility for your team. You can say, hey, gosh, it'd be really great if we could do A, B, C, and D. Is that even possible? Then you know what? Click the link in our description. Book a call with me or someone on my team. We'd love to talk with you about your project. And even if it's just kind of bouncing ideas back and forth, I think that this stuff is going to be super transformative, and I'm really, really excited to see where it goes, not only for us, but also for you. So until next time, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.